We have an exciting game for you today. We have two strong players going head-to-head in a game that required some very careful choices, heavily influenced by the map layout. We see some less common tactics come into play, such as bridges, and we see catapults and archers in a Yadakk game. This game may surprise you. You think early on you know what's going to happen, then it goes on for another 20 turns, so stick around. I'm Amlethus.
And I'm Wannyboy. The game we are spotlighting is between two top-tier players. We have Estrella in the north corner playing the brown Yadakk, and we have Raichu in the west corner playing the white Yadakk. The game comes from the Polysseum, the official Polytopia tournament, in which last month players were battling it out in head-to-head Yadakk matches. If you're interested in seeing more of this, you can find the link about the Polysseum in the description below. Now, let's get into the game.
This map is a small-sized game played on continents, and here we see each player starting with a strong layout of resources. Not only that, we have some fun opportunities that come into play. We see here some spots for bridges that the players will take advantage of.
Although both players start with good starting resources, if we look here at the top side, Estrella has some very nice resource indicators for a second or a third village. On the other hand, Raichu doesn't really have any resource indicators leading to villages, except for these two fish, but for that he would have to cross the water.
Alright, now let's watch their opening moves.
So, at this point in the game, we can see that Estrella has already expanded out quite far. We do, however, see that his one warrior was quite unlucky. It had a lot of good chances to find a village here, but sadly, the game did not bless him. He followed the resource indicators of the fish, he followed the resource indicators of the shorelines, nothing there. He does, however, have a second village, and most likely a third village up top here.
On the other hand, with Raichu, he pulled out a very unique play here. Now that lighthouse, which will always start with fog on it, he moved to it to get the population from it, and then that allowed him to get hunting to level up his capital. Now, without a whole lot of other options, looks like he's leaning into eco as he's studying a warrior north around this little strip of land.
Estrella continues his exploration and finds a nice village and a ruin.
And we see more capital development from Raichu and moving dangerously closer to Estrella.
Let's turn off the fog so that we can see what both players can actually see in this game.
Raichu found his first village, and now we're in conflict. And Estrella gets first vision, so he gets the extra stars before Raichu does.
He immediately picks up the Explorer because he now knows the Explorer has somewhere to go and reveals a lot of information about Raichu.
Estrella even has more visibility in Raichu's territory than Raichu does.
Estrella also picks up his ruin, and what did he get? A fishing ruin. Normally I would say fishing ruin on continents, really great, but look at this, he doesn't have a single village with water access. On top of that, we're having a bit of a land battle going on here, so he really can't do much with it at the moment.
Estrella's building out a wide network of cities. Raichu's barely struggling to keep up with him, but he's found another village to see if he can catch up.
What I also find interesting about what Raichu is doing here is that he picked up forestry. How often do you see forestry on a Yadakk play?
Yes, he's doing a good job of working with what he has.
That's
he can squeeze more value out of that.
And I mean, look at this. He's almost getting a giant there. Meanwhile, oh, I didn't see that one appear, but look here. Estrella made himself a bridge, which means he will be crossing over the water to see what's under this big cloud of fog.
There's still about a third of the map we haven't seen from either player. There's a village. And here we get a turn 8 giant coming for Raichu. Now up to 13 stars per turn.
I mean, let's turn off the fog again so we get a better look at what both players are working with at the moment. So we can see Estrella here having 4 cities, a bridge to a new unexplored continent with at least one village here,
Meanwhile, Raichu has just established 3 cities. We see there's another village that he's going to be able to reach, though I think that's in Estrella's vision, but he just had the first giant. Let's see where he's going to send that.
So let's turn the fog back off and see how it continues. Estrella going for riding.
Raichu gets a vet swordsman ruin. That giant's going around closer to Estrella.
Meanwhile, another explorer for Estrella here. And wow, this is actually quite a big continent. He also finds himself a lighthouse, meaning Estrella is also getting closer to his giant, and 2 more villages on here. So we're starting to see a real big village difference between both players.
Estrella has nearly twice villages of Raichu, and he's already got them in his reach. Raichu just took mathematics. We're going to see catapults, and we see right away a sawmill getting another giant in the capital.
That is a whole lot of giants. So even though Estrella has many more villages than Raichu does, will he be able to keep them?
It looks like Estrella is getting ready to beat up on or abandon the city with his units. Raichu moves in. A little more economic development.
Oh, wait. Is that what I think it is? Those units moving in that position? I mean, that
does not look good for Raichu.
It's a level 2 city. How's he gonna do that? Alright. So
there's a network monument.
Oh, and 2 boards. And the Bark of Fortune. Damn, what a play. We see the first giant booth of the game.
Ouch.
Oh, and another bridge. Why not?
Can't have too many bridges, Wanny.
Well, I mean, at some point, but no, definitely not right here.
Raichu's working to catch up. Got his 4th city now.
Oh, but here, Estrella sees the giants and he sees the catapults and he picks up archers. Those are really good for dealing with both of those units.
Raichu's going for a 2nd siege and trying to block his Estrella's access to poof him again.
Will Estrella be able to do it? I don't think so, but that... yeah, right.
Oh. That's a sign of losing a city right there, but always a good play to do.
Whew, that giant just melted. Those catapults are putting in some work.
Yeah, they don't play around. Raichu's gonna make good work of them. You can see how this terrain, how it gives him a protective barrier for his catapult, even with that bridge.
Yeah, Estrella is struggling to deal with them, but, I mean, both of the players did just take to the water. Maybe that will open up a new front.
The game is changing with this new dynamic as both players are gonna build a navy. What a lucky find for the lighthouse there. Let's see if it helps him.
And let's pause at the end here to compare both players again. So we can see right here, Raichu at the moment has 26 stars per turn, 5 cities, has his 3 catapult setup, and a giant in the city that he just took from Estrella.
Meanwhile, Estrella has 22 stars per turn, less despite having the city advantage of 6 cities to Raichu's 5. But we see that Raichu has most of the ports right now, so Estrella needs to catch up if he's going to get in the water game.
He is using those archers to just slightly tickle the giant, but, I mean, pinpricks can take him down in the end.
Raichu's probably getting worried about that city. He wants to keep that. It's going to be key for him to keep his economy up. And he gets a ruin explorer and finds a hidden village in the water. Oh, the Juggernaut's going to water.
I mean, that does allow Estrella to move up a little bit. He starts taking down units, another siege. I mean, I don't think it will stick, but it's annoying. It takes a lot of stars. And rammers, so Estrella is actually going to start dealing some damage in the water as well.
Oh, Giant just went back on land to clear the siege.
I mean, can you blame him? It looks like Estrella might be going for starfish here. If you look at where those rafts are.
Mm-hmm.
So,
that'd be a fat load of cash for him.
Yeah, that does also mean you might see some bombers later on.
That giant moving back into the water again, and now we're getting rammers coming back from the Raichu's side. This is going to be a contentious battle in the water. Here we are, and just coming up in turn 19. We got Aquatism for the defense bonus.
That is really interesting. It's really trying to make those rammers survive the attack, so I don't think it will be enough though. I mean, look at all those archers. Archers are also really useful for battles in the water, it turns out.
Especially getting this map's unique layout coming into play, offering really unique opportunities for each player. And both players being really clever, taking advantage of those.
We see some more back and forth on the water. Ooh, and the first bomber is there. I mean, at the moment, each time a player plays, I would think now they've won the water, and each time the other player manages to crawl it back.
That bomber's going to be a problem locking down that city of Raichu's. It's also a big investment by Estrella. 17 star cost for that unit. Estrella's only making 24 stars per turn as they battle out for water control. And now that was an amazing play. Raichu cleared that archer for zone of control, is able to move in and take out that bomber.
Estrella will be trying to fight back. Again, another siege here, but it won't last, of course, with the giant next to it. Moving some more units in the water, trying to take down the rammers that Raichu put in there, and trying to take back the naval control even though they just lost their bomber. Some more units supporting that.
And like most games with a significant water component, the games come down to who can control the water the most, who can keep their ports clear and get units in the water.
At this point, I think Estrella starts to notice that he doesn't have the means to take down the Juggernaut. There's so many units in the water here on the sides of on Raichu's side, and more importantly, all of those units that Raichu has are centered around Estrella's city. Without the city, he only has this single city so far away from all the rest with port access. So at this point, he decides this is not going to work out, and Estrella resigns the game. Even though the game might look very open, a lot could still happen, but he knows from this point on it will only go downhill. It will be a long death struggle, and he knows how to end anyway. So he decides to take the honorable way out and resign.
It was a well-fought game, and honestly, Estrella seeing that even just shows how good of a player he is. But well done, Raichu. Congratulations.
So let's take a look at the entire map before everything started. As we can see here, both players start on a continent with 4 villages. Estrella has access to a second continent with 3 villages, whereas Raichu mainly has access to this one village out in the water. However, he does also have some access to Estrella's continent, so this village here will be contested, as we saw.
And that village becomes real key in the game, as we saw, especially because of its positioning, not just right between them, but has good resources and water access, and then that land access between the two areas.
Let's keep in mind also, the water access of this village is what, in the end, caused Raichu to be able to kill Estrella's bomber. Let's move over to that part. Go ahead.
Here we see, even though those ports are somewhat upriver, and that bomber looks pretty safe from being far away, Raichu makes this amazing play, clearing out that archer and getting his units over there to take out that bomber.
And by doing so, he clears away for his eventual victory.
Of course, we can't forget the beautiful giant poof by Estrella. Raichu moves his giant in, thinking he has this. Estrella has a perfect trap set up. It's a level 1 city.
However, Estrella
Never expect this would happen.
Estrella perfectly calculates the population he needs, makes a road which gets a giant in his capital. That giant then allows him to put a monument down, gets second monument from his roads, which is barely enough to poof Raichu's giant. Absolutely amazing play.
In this game, the first critical moment appears on turn 5, where I have to decide the direction for my game. I already went for a lighthouse opening, so my capital has a lot of upgrades, and I can either go riding or archery, or try to go for giant, like I did. And I think going for giant is the right decision, because he simply has more villages than me, and if I try to go for combat tech, he'll simply have more units than I do, which will be hard to play. The second critical moment is when he tries to Houdini my giant, which he succeeds. But I think it's a mistake because it costs him close to 20 stars and 2 monuments, which could be invested elsewhere into a lot more economy and more giants. And he fails to defend that city anyways, so I think this is a huge turning point in the game. As we enter the late game, I have more text than he does. My cities are better upgraded because of how the early game went. He had more villages. And my catapults that were my early game units managed to survive and still get a lot of value. So from that point on, the game was pretty much won. I could just spam boats and use my catapults to support them.
Thank you all for watching. Share your thoughts in the comments. Join the next Polysseum. The link is down in the description. Like and subscribe our channel. Join our Discord and other social media. The links for those are also down in the description. If you'd like to see more of the Polysseum content, click the barred video on the screen. Take care and see you in the next one.